You know, still wearing my Netminder shirt. Yeah. But I am about to start grading for the vlog, you know, starting the vlog here on, oh gosh, I have no idea what the date is. I don't know. I've been out the house and everything, but I don't know what the day of the week it is. Well, I know it's Saturday, but I don't know. Oh, hold on. My planner is right here. It's the 19th, so doing that. My fingers were burnt. I don't know if I burnt them on the car because it's a black car, so, you know, in the sun. Yeah. But yeah, I've watered the plants. I just got in from doing that, and I saw like a salamander. I don't know, like it had a blue tail, but it wasn't a skink, so I don't know really what he was, but pretty cool. So I do want to talk about what I'm reading. So we're going to talk about what I'm reading today. So I'm about to get into The Bloody Chamber. This is not like that short story is in here, but it is a collection, and honestly I'm like, this is a short story collection for furries. Like, I get it's magical realism, but like, why? Like, The Bloody Chamber was like kind of like vampire vibes, so all the rest seem like animals. And I'm like, this is furries. But our next one is Puss in Boots, and I'm like, is this like the actual like Puss in Boots, like the first Puss in Boots story? I don't know. So I'm gonna be reading that today, and then I'm going to be starting my reread of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is our buddy read. So I will be going into all the details, not spoilers, but just my thoughts. So as you can see, I have annotated this book before, and look at my cute little nameplate that's in there. So this is not, I prefer Daisy Jones and Malibu Rising to Evelyn Hugo, but this is still a great book. And just, I love seeing all the tabs. I love seeing the broken spine. Love that. So we're going to be getting into that later, probably around 3. But I am going to be getting into The Bloody Chamber now. But Puss in Boots, again, I don't know if this is the original Puss in Boots story or not, but we'll see. So we'll research it. But yeah, the writing in here is good. And that's like also, this is like a 3-star. And I know on Goodreads, like, so many people have loved this. And I'm like, yeah, it's good, but it's not great. It's not a new favorite. But we're gonna read Puss in Boots now. Hey guys, can we focus? Okay, so yeah, it is Sunday, so as y'all saw, I went to see RFK Jr., my first time going to see a candidate for the selection, because I try to see as many as I can, and I didn't know he had beef with Ford, and I was wearing a Ford Broncos shirt, so I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry. I didn't tell him that because I didn't know until after, and I'm like, this low-key very embarrassing, so I hope he didn't notice. I hope my hair was in the way, but yeah. So I just feel so embarrassed about that, but I'm like, he was a super nice guy. I doubt he cares. But I am about to get into The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So I didn't get to read at 3 because the event was at 3. It was very hot in there. They didn't have fans on the second floor. It was a restaurant. And I'm like, why don't they have fans? It is August in the South. Like, why do you not have fans? But do restaurants usually have fans? I don't know. I never really look up at the ceiling. But when you're drenched in sweat, you can tell. So I'm about to get into Evelyn Hugo here. And yeah, so I read 97 pages yesterday. So I got over 20% of the way in here. Not going to talk about my thoughts yet till the end of the day, but I'm going to get back into reading that. Yesterday I probably could have read more, but I was talking on the phone to a friend for a really long time because I haven't talked to her in about a month. Like, talked, you know, I've texted, but so it was good to talk to her, talk about what we've been reading, what she's been writing, and all of that. So that was fun to get in touch. But yeah, all my California friends, y'all are getting a tropical storm, which is something that I am very used to, but on the West Coast, it's not very normal. So be smart. That's the thing. Be smart. And I guess be safe, because I mean, to me, like, tropical storm is not that bad. Like, it's something I'm extremely used to. I've experienced multiple handfuls, tens of times in my life. So but I know out there it's kind of different because they don't get a lot of rain. I just saw Palm Springs, and Palm Springs is in the desert. And two, mudslides. We don't really get that here because I'm on flat land. We're not on a hill. I don't live in the hills. So those are things that are different. Very different geology and ecosystem. Yeah, I'm gonna get into reading now, but I wanted to tell y'all, explain those clips. And the woman, it was his wife, Cheryl Hines is like her name before she was married. So who's an actress. She was on Hannah Montana one episode, so that's pretty cool. But yes, so I'm going to get into reading now. Okay, so I just got done reading for the day, and I got to 33%, so I'm over a quarter of the way into it, so that means update time for The Seven Husbands. So this book, I think I'm liking it more on reread. So the first time I read it, I gave it a 4-star, but it's giving 5-star quality this time around. And honestly, it's just another reading at like the right time. I don't know, I wanted to read books like the movie Babylon, and that's been impossible to find, and this still isn't quite in that era. This is like the generation after that movie, because this is like 1950s, or at least we start out in 1950s Hollywood, and the era I'm wanting is like silent film era, which is the 1920s going into the sound era, which is at the start of the 1930s. But I am really enjoying this, and I want to be Evelyn Hugo. Like, I want to be her. So I'm not really annotating this time around, but I know this is a very popular quote here, and at the time when I first read this, I didn't really think much about it, but now it's, people think intimacy is about sex, but intimacy is about truth. When you realize you can tell someone your truth, when you can show yourself to them, when you stand in front of them bare and their response is, "You're safe with me," that's intimacy. Like, oh my gosh, so good. I don't know how Taylor Jenkins Reid went from writing those like romance books that are like fine, like these books right here. I don't know how she went from writing those to something like this. That's amazing. But I think sometimes you just find like her historical, because I mean some of them take place in like the 80s and 90s, and I was born in the 90s, so I'm like, I don't really like to say that's historical fiction, but it technically is. But I think you just find what you're good at, and I think with these books that are about famous people in the past, just she hits the nail on the head and does a fantastic job on, where these books are like 5-star quality, when her previous books are more just average. Like, I gave one of them a 1-star. So I mean, like, I don't know how that's possible, but I am loving this on reread, so that's always fun. I'm going to watch Winning Time after my shower. So I just need to calculate to see how many pages I read this week. It's not going to be a huge amount. I read over 100 pages 3 days this week, but I also did not read on the day that I had my procedure, so I just have to do the math here. So it's going to be, I'm going to say around 500 pages, but who knows. But I just did want to give you all guys happy Monday. So I have read today, I am reading Washington. This is a nonfiction all about the history of Washington, D.C. I'm in the early 1900s currently. So we're making our way through. We're right there. You have to remember with nonfiction, a lot of this is like the index, notes, and all that in the back. So I have like 200 pages left. I don't know. I'll probably get to around the halfway point in there today. And I am all sweaty because I was just sorting through my books in there because I think how I'm going to do my TBRs different. I'm still going to do like different genres each book, but I don't think I'm going to pull it out of a jar just because there are so many and I don't have jars that are big enough. We haven't reached that point yet, but I know it would reach that point, so that's why you know, want to switch it up how I do it. And it prioritizes more books that I have sitting around that aren't on shelves, so to get through those stacks that are on the floor, it'll just be easier. But I do want to keep y'all updated like on my health journey, my teeth health. So we're low-key panicking. That right there, there's like a hole right there. Sorry for the stains on my teeth, but right there. And I am panicking that my tooth is gonna fall out before my appointment. But I talked to a friend who's a dental hygienist and she's like, it's just a cavity. It's not gonna fall out. You're gonna be fine. You can wait till your appointment. It's gonna be all okay. So she was trying to calm me down. I'm freaking out. And my dad was like, it's fine. It's not gonna fall out. But like in my head, I'm like, so worried. So we have to be positive. We have to manifest that everything's going to be a-okay. It's just because they did say with getting gum treatment your teeth will feel loose because one, your gums, my gums I don't think are extremely recessed or anything, but for some people that is. And then I had the plaque on my teeth and that was kind of holding it down, like giving a grip to it. And now that that's gone, my teeth might feel a little wiggly, but as my gums heal, they will, you know, attach again. So it is just part of like the healing process. And but as I said, I'm a really honest and open person where I tell everybody pretty much everything. You just have to ask. I should say this, like people I know, like if random people just ask, like with that I'm fine telling people, but like if you're like asking about my personal life or something, I'm not gonna tell random people that. But yeah, so I'm a really open person and I want to be open about this because I have not found that many sources about gum disease that are like personal, you know, personal experiences. And it being the like 6th most common disease in the United States, it's actually 47% of adults in the United States have some form of gum disease because obviously there's different stages and everything. So that is nearly half the country. And think of all the people who are going untreated because if we think about addictions that are in this country, so if we think like nicotine and honestly probably vaping, yeah I know vaping does, and then alcohol, caffeine, sugar, that all is not good for you. So that like my staining on my teeth is from drinking dark drinks. If I did whitening strips that would be gone because I have got them going from that before, but I can't do whitening strips right now because of the medical stuff I'm having done, the dental stuff I'm having done, so I can't do that right now. But that, so you just have to think of everything that plays into that and how this is such a prevalent disease. And obviously things that are not inherently deadly, people don't really talk about as much because they're like, you don't die from it, so it doesn't really matter. And yeah, and so it is chronic as well. Which we heard RFK Jr. talk about yesterday about how chronic illness is so prevalent in our society, how so many people have it, and that's this one chronic illness is that means there is no cure for it. You can treat it and make it better, but you can't 100% cure it. But yeah, as I said, I just want to be really open about my journey and how like, yeah, that is giving me anxiety, but I have to remind myself everything is going to be okay. This is all part of a process. My appointment is next week. I'm going to be fine. And I don't need to be freaking myself out. So just reminders for myself there and for you guys if you guys are going through something similar and all of that. So I am going to get back into reading now. I'm going to work out as I read because, yeah, since I have no appointment this week, I am getting back to working out. I don't know if you actually can't work out while you have stuff going on. Obviously, on the day where I'm medicated, I'm not working out because things could go wrong with that. I don't want to know, like I would probably drop a weight on me or something and that would not be fun. So I have gotten back to working out this week since I don't have any appointments, but next week I won't work out because one, it will be the time of the month and I don't work out on the time of the month. I know some people are like, that'll make you feel better. For me, it doesn't. And then I will be having my teeth stuffed, so having my procedure done. So I am not going to be working out next week. So on these weeks where I have nothing planned, I am working out, and it feels so good to be working out. But so I'm going to get to reading and working out because I'm going to be on the bicycle, so my hands aren't doing anything, so I will be able to hold the book. I did just want to tell you, start along for the day. Okay, so I got to over the halfway point in here in Washington, and it made me dislike Woodrow Wilson. I had no opinion of him before, but I did not think he was a good president. So I guess we'll start with that since I talked about it. So basically, he didn't believe in women's suffrage, yet so this was during the First World War. Women were really working for the first time. There were women working in federal buildings. There were women obviously being like nurses and that kind of thing at Walter Reed Hospital. But he did, and women could even run for president. That happened for the first time in the 1800s, but they couldn't vote. Like what? And then also, before he was president, you did have Black Americans working, and as I said, like they were working alongside women in like the post office and things like that. They were like, you know, working normal jobs. And also Black Americans went to war in Europe in World War I. They come back to a city that's even more segregated, and yeah, Woodrow Wilson, not cool. And then, but with the book, like overall, I just feel like it's jumping and just leaving things out. Like I feel like we just have big jumps, big gaps, and I am not really liking that, because I'm just kind of like, okay, well, what happened to this person? You don't really say. So I think there's some loose ends, and it just doesn't tie up nicely. But yeah, as I said, I got to over the halfway point in here, so I have dinner now. I'm really hungry, so can't wait to do that. And I got all the books sorted in there, so all the books I own are sorted. I'm super happy about that. Organized and all. That was my hair. I thought there was a string right there, but yes, so I am all organized with my books, and I have one poetry collection and 2 short story collections, because y'all know I never have those on hand, so really glad to have those. One came from Shakespeare and Company, and one was one I bought myself. I bought it used, and then the other was, I'm blanking. I don't know where from, but one day we will find out. So yes, there's our update. Don't know if I'll see y'all later or not, but we will be getting into Evelyn Hugo later, which I am absolutely loving. To film an update for you. I haven't had my hair skincare yet. I've brushed my teeth and that's all. So I got to over 75% in the Blaze Chamber in the collection, because this is a short story collection, and honestly this would be a great book for like late fall when it's cold. So like maybe like that week of Halloween, but sometimes it's not cold here, so I just have to say late fall. And then this makes me want to do like because this book, I bought a used copy, and it has annotations in it of if somebody didn't know what a word meant, they put the definition. And I'm like, that's made me want to do like, I don't know if y'all did it in elementary school. I don't know if it was elementary school, middle school, sometime when I was in school, when we would be reading like a book as a class or whatever, if we didn't know a word, we would write it down, look up the definition, write down the definition, and some of those words would be used on our vocabulary test. So I think that is so smart, and because there's a lot of words in books where I'm just like, I don't know what that means, I'm just gonna skim over it. So I do think that is something that I should play around with and do, because I'm all about learning, and learning new words is great. Learning new words, definitions of the words, etymology, is that, see, don't even know if that's the right word, all of that. So I'm about to get into Washington now, but I just did want to tell y'all that I did get to 75%. I did clean my room some today, just picked up clutter. So the dog beds and pee pads, they're there. As long as Penny is here, they're there. But Fred uses those too, so that's not just Penny. I basically had a lot of clothes in here to give away, and some other like random stuff, so I put those in a bag to take to Goodwill. So I just have a bunch of random stuff. This is a box that I got a package in, but I want to use during Christmas time because it looks so nice to, you know, put gifts in. So over here, just some of my fall decor that I've bought recently, but fall doesn't start till next week. Some clothes and all that I decided not to give away. Random hanger, bikini top, SD card, stickers. So I just have a bunch of random stuff in here that I need to find places to put. So I did that, and then I just vacuumed my floors with the handheld vacuum, because my robo vacuum does come in here once a week. So that is everything. And obviously, like, I made my bed. This we don't talk about. I did pick up some stuff from my desk that did need to be thrown away, so I did do all that earlier. I don't work out on Wednesdays, so it has been pretty chill. I watched the new Hard Knocks episode, and yeah, so I am going to get to reading Washington now. Very awkward angle because my camera is charging, so we're like plugged into an outlet. So I finished Washington by Tom Lewis, gave it a 4-star, so this was a 5-star prediction. Did not live up to that, but it was still a really good book, and I would still highly recommend it. So my issues were that I felt like it jumped kind of all over the place and was very sporadic, and I felt like there were just big gaps and that we were missing out on things. Just so this is not part of the review, but a thing that I realized basically since the American Civil War, like every 50 years there's some sort of revolution. During Woodrow Wilson's presidency, we saw kind of the start of civil rights, and then we saw women's suffrage. Then if we go to like the 1960s, 1970s, we see civil rights once again, and then we see like feminism growing. And then if we go to like 2016 to like the Trump years, I don't want to say the 2020s because 2020 was like the peak of it, but you know, so that time period we had the Women's March was a thing, Black Lives Matter, all of that. So I feel like every 50 years something has to happen like that. Don't know why that is, but finish this. Goodreads will not load. I was telling somebody last week that Goodreads never loads. It's an awful app, and since Amazon runs it, it needs to do better. So let's see that part. Oh, there it goes. And update progress. I've finished this book. 4 stars. There we go. And then back to a loading screen. So we finished the book. I have been rearranging my bookshelves, doing it by genre so it can just be easier for me to find books. And I will talk to y'all later. Okay, I'm vlogging outside because it's super nice. I'm gonna take my hair down now because I was super sweaty earlier. But I started a new book today, that being Camp Zero by Michelle Min Sterling, and I'm not liking it. It's in 2-star territory. Like, I'm not absolutely hating it yet. So I'm gonna tell you what I think it's about, and then we're gonna read the synopsis and see if I'm anywhere near correct. So we have 3 kind of separate plot lines. Our first one is with Rose, and this is set in 2049, by the way, at least I think. And so like a climate change is happening. Like, I don't know if there's been like a major catastrophe or anything like that, but in the process of I think they are building like a city up in northern Canada, because it's more livable up there. And so they're building a city, so they bring in these women, Rose being one of them, to be like prostitutes for the men who are building the city, to my understanding. And then so that's Rose's chapters, they're prostitutes. Then we have, what is the man's name? Is it Grant? Yeah, Grant. So he is a English teacher, or I guess professor, and he's heard that there's a college up here in the far north, and he is going to be a professor there. And he gets there, and it's like it's still being built, but they want the construction workers to get an education, so he's being like their educator. Then we have another plot line. These aren't chapters, they're kind of in between things. They're short compared to the actual chapters, called White Alice. And these are a group of female scientists, the first like all-female group to go to this place in the far north that used to be where during the Cold War they would just make sure the Soviets weren't shooting missiles at America. And now in the plot line in the book. It is for climate stuff. They watch the weather. I hear a helicopter or something. But let's see what this book is actually about now. So I'm 27% of the way in. So, oh my gosh, I know, I'm sorry, I'm distracted. I hear stuff and I'm like, what's happening? So, let's see. In a near future northern settlement, the fates of a young woman, a professor, and a mysterious collective of climate researchers collide in this mesmerizing and transportive debut novel. So it is a debut novel, I need to keep that in mind. In remote northern Canada, a team led by a visionary American architect is breaking ground on a building project called Camp Zero, intended to be the beginning of a new way of life. A clever and determined young woman, codenamed Rose, is offered a chance to join the Blooms, a group hired to entertain the men in camp, but her real mission is to secretly monitor the mercurial architect in charge. In return, she'll receive a home for her climate-displaced Korean immigrant mother and herself. Rose quickly secures the trust of her target, only to discover that everyone has a hidden agenda, and nothing is as it seems. Through skillfully braided perspectives, including those of a young professor longing to escape his wealthy family, and an all-woman military research unit struggling for survival at a climate station, the fate of Camp Zero's inhabitants reaches a stunning crescendo. Atmospheric, fiercely original, and utterly gripping, Camp Zero is an electrifying page-turner and a masterful exploration of who and what will survive in a warming world, and how falling in love and building community can be the most daring acts of all. So that's our description. So I think there's too many characters for one, like all the side characters. Like, I don't know which one of these girls is which. I know Rose is our main character, but like Willow, Iris, like they all have like flower names. I'm like, I don't know y'all from Eve, I guess, because I know there's a from Adam thing. Atmosphere, that is a really cool setting, so nothing wrong with that. Writing is fine, like it's fast. The chapters are long, but I can read through them pretty quickly. And plot sounds intriguing, but it's just not gripping me yet. So I'm not gripped. I am more of a character-driven person, so that's probably why, as I'm saying, I have a lot of these characters confused. I'm not really connecting with them, so that is the downfall. So this is in DNF territory. As I said, I'm not hating it, but I'm not liking it. So we might start skimming, because I am 25% in, and that's usually when I know if I'm gonna like a book or not. So if by 50% I'm still not liking it, who knows what we might do. But yeah, so if I'm not finished with this book in a week, then yes, I am going to be DNFing. It is only like 234 pages, so not that bad in length. So I am going to go eat dinner. But I did want to tell y'all about the new book, and I had the book of the month edition, and this is my science fiction pick of the month, and it is actually a new release for 2023 as well, in April. Guys, I'm loving the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Like, it's everything I've been wanting, so I'm over halfway. But I'm going to be ending the vlog here. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it through the whole video, leave a green emoji in the comments below. I'm sorry it was coming out later than usual. Y'all know I've been having computer issues. I don't have a converter for SD cards at the moment, so I'm gonna be really backed up on videos, which just kind of sucks, but you know, gotta do what you gotta do. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.